Hey Todd, this is Jason Amadori. I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at EarthEye, and I wanted to show you some data related to power lines. I know you had mentioned some interest that you guys had some LiDAR data that you've been using, and you use it to look at encroachments and tree grow in and fall in and other things like that. And I just kind of want to show you some of the tools that we have. So the software that you see here in front of you is a piece of software that we have developed. It's internal, and if we had a project with you guys, we would deliver this piece of software specifically to you. Well, you can see there's ways to add LiDAR data in. You can either look at the LiDAR data itself, or you can look at an ortho photo. Typically when we collect the data, we collect the aerial photography along with the LiDAR data. So you're looking at a point cloud here. The point cloud is classified by elevation. When we collect the LiDAR data, you're probably aware, once again, you can look at it by elevation. We also have intensity that we collect. We can look at the different returns, so you get multiple returns. All the green colors here are the first return. Everything that's blue is the second return, and if we get another return in the vegetation, it'll be yellow. And we can also fuse this data with the imagery, so we can take this information and we can look at it in 3 dimensions, and we're colorizing the actual LiDAR data with the actual imagery pixels themselves. So I'll kind of jump back here and go back to the elevation. So the ways that we use this data and the ways that we provide the data to you is using our piece of software here, and it's specifically built to look at LiDAR data, and so you can make decisions with the LiDAR data. And one of the things that we do with this is we can actually run analysis of this power line data to say, let's take a look at any area here that has grow in and fall in issues in terms of your maintenance, the transmission line maintenance. So this data set here, you can see what I did is I've thrown in vectors that we've created of the actual power lines themselves. You can see some of the points that have hit the power lines from the data that we collected, and then what we do is we model that data using PLS-CAD to develop these vectors for the actual transmission lines, so it models them in their current position. So what we do is we take that and we classify the data based on specific things. So we look at a ground elevation, so I can turn off all my points except for the ground, and there's the ground right there, and you can solid render that ground surface. So there's your terrain model absent of any vegetation. And then I can take this and I can look at other classes. I can turn on everything again so that you can see the ground elevation, and then you can also see green is trees. And then one of the other classes that we created here is the tree fall in and grow in areas. So you can see if I take this up in 3D once again, these areas of these trees here are potentially in a fall in or a grow in zone, so that we can identify the specific areas that need to be trimmed as part of your vegetation management program. So I can move along this line here, and once again, here's another area that there's some fall in potentials, and we classify the points just based on whether it's a fall in potential or a grow in potential. So once again, here you can kind of see both of them. The blue is the grow in potential, the red is the fall in potential. And once again, the analysis is done in a 3D nature, and we use whatever parameters that you guys use to determine what these potentials are related to. So if it's a buffer of 50 feet, we just put the parameters into PLS-CAD and let it model it that way accordingly. So that's pretty much how we take the data. The idea is to make this data useful for you guys when you're making your decisions. So once again, it's engineering grade, it's very accurate data. So we've got information here, here's your towers, and the towers can be modeled. This can be used for as-built information, and it's also just good from a viewing perspective. So once again, I can fuse the imagery with this data and look at everything in 3 dimensions. So once again, I can see these houses over here down in this area in 3D in their relation to the power line corridor, and how that power line corridor is actually trimmed as well. So I can look at other things. I know in this data set that we collected here, there's areas where people got their boats parked underneath the power lines, and just other types of things, other obstructions that you might not be able to tell if you're just looking at the elevation intensity here. You can tell that this is a structure, but you may not be sure what these are, which obviously they're vehicles. But if you can fuse that data with the imagery itself, you can see that information looks, you can see really what's going on in a specific area. I'll zoom in here on this house. Once again, imagery is high resolution. You can really resolve objects that are on the ground, and you can look at all this data once again in 3D. So I know that's what you're interested in. Hopefully this video shows you what you're looking for. And if there's anything that we can help you with, if you have any other questions, we'd be glad to get online and do a demo for you. But I appreciate your interest. Once again, my name is Jason Amadori, and my phone number is 407-382-5222. And I'll be glad to do a demonstration for you if you're interested. Thanks again for your interest. Bye-bye.